nutrient that's critically important for energy production of the gut. And that helps the gut to maintain its function. So glutamine, zinc has also been shown to be extremely important, glucosamine as well. So these are some of the supplements that we would prescribe to seal the gut once we diagnose the causes of the leaky gut and feel that we have successfully treated those. We seal the gut with these additional supplements. And treatment varies. 3 to 4 months is usually sufficient, and you'll want to wait a little bit and repeat the leaky gut testing to make sure your gut no longer leaks. Otherwise, you may need to continue the treatment protocol longer. And then, of course, there's the maintenance phase. So there's a lot going on in the gut. The gut's an extremely critical system for us, and maintaining its function is critically important as well. So continuing with all these lifestyle factors, and modern living is such a deterrent to health, I think, that we really have to think about consciously what we do from day to day, and make conscious choices as to what we're going to do in our day, and ask ourselves if it supports our health or not. Ultimately, we can't do everything. Our modern lifestyles put a little too much on our plates, and we have to make conscious decisions and conscious choices to look at our health first. And if we're not healthy, we can't be there for those we love, like our children or our parents or our friends. In my case, my clients. If I don't maintain my health, it's really hard for me to maintain theirs, because there's a lot of critical thinking that I do. There's a lot of extra work that I have to do. And if I am, as a mom and, as a daughter, as a friend, I wear a lot of hats, as many of us do. I have a lot of moms who are stay-at-home moms, which I think is even more work than working moms. Stay-at-home moms have the equivalent of 2.5 full-time jobs. So you almost do less work if you leave the home during the day than if you stay at home. So there is no place in our modern lifestyle where there's any rest for the weary, and so we have to make conscious choices. And so this maintenance, idea of maintenance is putting yourself first. It's putting yourself ahead of everything else you do. And it's not being selfish. It's being self-caring. Getting up in the morning and taking some time for yourself, doing some deep breathing exercises or meditation, taking a walk, whatever it is.
Hey, Dr. Malin, so sorry to interrupt again. You have a caller from the 508 area code.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, welcome. What is your name?
Hi, Dr. Malin. It's Deborah.
Oh, hi,
from
Deborah.
Boston.
Great to hear from you.
Yes, thank you. And I was listening and heard you speaking of glutamine. Could you talk a little more about that? Because there seems to be a controversy on how much I realize that one needs to be tested, but there's talk about not having enough, and really larger doses are better. Could you address that?
Sure. So to seal the gut and to treat leaky gut, somewhere between 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams of glutamine a day is the suggestion. So your average glutamine supplement is only about 500 milligrams. So if you take a glutamine capsule, you're getting 500 milligrams, but you need 6 to 8 times that dose to help seal the gut. So there are specific, leaky gut supplements, if you will, and if you look at the labels, they'll have 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams of glutamine just built in. We don't know a ton about glutamine except that it is the primary energy source of the gut and our muscles as well. So given that the gastrointestinal system uses up 40% of the body's energy, feeding it is critically important, and glutamine is a major source of its, food, if you will, or energy. So there's probably a link there. And probably what glutamine is doing is helping the gut to heal itself. The gut is too complicated for us to fix it. So all we can really do is support it and get out of its way and let it do what it does. So glutamine is part of, how that's done in the gut. We don't know the exact mechanism of how it does it. We just know that it does help to seal the gut. So somehow the gut utilizes this source of energy to get its work done. It probably has to do with recruitment of stem cells, to replace the cells that are damaged, and recruitment of, the body's own immune system to help restore the tight junctions that leak. But we're not exactly sure, but we do know that the average supplement of 500 milligrams of glutamine is not going to do it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for explaining that. So it sounds like if you're tending towards a leaky gut, organic, real food isn't going to heal the lining.
Not usually. Again, it depends on the extent of damage. And again, getting tested is the best way to know that.
Right.
But it takes a village to heal the gut, and so food sources alone typically is not enough. Typically, you really have to throw everything at it but the kitchen sink to give it every possible ingredient it might need to fix itself. So that's really the emphasis. And glutamine has also been shown to help balance the good bacteria in the gut. Again, it's an energy source, so the good bacteria feed off of it as well. So it performs so many different functions we just don't even understand. So the best thing to do is to give it everything it needs and get out of its way and stop causing it harm, so to speak, by reducing the toxins, reducing the bad food. And sometimes we're eating clean and we don't realize that, other things are getting into the gastrointestinal system that we don't intend, like household products and things of that nature. So it's not always this intentional bad eating that does us in. Sometimes it's unseen. So it's really best just to be comprehensively evaluated, just so that you know exactly what you're dealing with to the best of our ability. So you get the major players out of the way, the major things that are causing the damage out of the way, throw everything into the gut that it could possibly use to heal itself, and then let it do it.
Very good. Thank you so much, Dr. Malin.
My pleasure. Thank you, Deborah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Wonderful. Thank you for that, Deborah. And then the last thing really that I'd like to discuss is the idea of probiotics. There's been a lot of emerging controversy about probiotics, especially once we mapped out the genes of the good bacteria in the gut. So we were shocked in 2012 when the study came out, the Human Microbiome Project, that showed us that the bacteria in us have 90 times more genes in them than we have in our own cells. We were very disappointed to find out we had fewer genes than a common houseplant in the human body, and that the bacteria that lived in us and on us were more genetically complicated than we are. So that brought to light a lot of things. And so the idea of probiotics was questioned after that. So the idea of taking billions of bacteria into the gastrointestinal system that house, billions of genes, and possibly altering the genetic makeup of the gastrointestinal system was brought into question. So I've begun to really judiciously use probiotics and using them temporarily now, sometimes not at all, depending on the profile that I see. So again, testing is really important because you can have your microbiome tested, and we can see the metabolic makeup of the microbiome. We can see the counts. And if you have sufficient counts, you don't want to overexpose yourself to probiotics. So again, testing is really important, and having proper guidance is really important. So I use my testing to figure out if people need probiotics or not. And I'm moving towards supporting the good bacteria with prebiotics, good food, as opposed to throwing probiotics down into the gut, because we're seeing that we might be altering the gut in ways that we don't know how to control. And the studies are showing this. That's why the studies are kind of, again, all over the map with probiotics. Some studies say that they are wonderful and they help. Some studies say that they cause problems. Some studies say they don't work at all. And when you really look at how, again, we're all unique individuals and we all have different needs, this begins to make sense. So relying on testing, now that it's more and more available, is a great way to know if you need probiotics, because you can actually do damage taking probiotics if you don't need them. So I have some clients where they have high numbers of good bacteria, and if I turn around and give them probiotics, I might be causing them more harm than good. So a lot of people are very proactive, and they're out really doing their research, and they're doing their best to continue to maintain their health and be well. And it's becoming increasingly clear that without proper guidance, it's so hard to figure out what do you do first. What do you do? What don't you do? You read about things that are good for you, then they're bad for you. And so without the proper evaluation and testing, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a board-certified integrative medical doctor, but I think I became one because I saw the importance of people needing this guidance. And it's hard to figure out on your own because it's such a complex system. So some of my clients come in, they eat well. They live really clean, wonderful, holistic lifestyles, and they're still sick. And it's simply because they don't have the guidance. They don't have the ability to interpret the testing to really give them, what they need to know and do. So that's all the time for our show today. Thank you so much for all your wonderful questions. Really appreciate you all. Thank you for joining me on Awakened Wellness with me, Len Riobe, MD. We'll be back live in 2 weeks, but you can hear us every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. and every Tuesday evening at 11 p.m. Thanks for listening, and until next time, many, many blessings. Thank you.
Join us next time on Awakened Wellness with me, Len Riobe, MD, to learn how spirituality, ancient traditions, and cutting-edge science are merging to create a new paradigm of wellness. Awakened Wellness airs every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Time, with live shows on the first and third Tuesday mornings of each month. Meanwhile, you can join our Facebook page at facebook.com/awakenedwellness8 and let us know what you'd like to discuss on future episodes. Dr. Milen is the medical director of the Riobe Institute of Integrative Medicine in Jupiter, Florida. For more information, visit riobeintegrativemedicine.com. This show is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.